Freya grew up in the small town of Ivanovka, where she loved the beautiful nature around her. The forests, hills, and clear river made it a great place for walks and watching local animals. Since she was a child, Freya had a special love for animals and felt a strong connection to them. When she was 10, her family moved back to Ivanovka, and she was very happy. She could enjoy the forest every day, swim in the clean river, and breathe in the fresh air that smelled of pine. However, there was one problem. Lynxes often came near the town and attacked farmers' animals. In response, farmers set traps that often hurt the lynxes badly. Freya felt sad and upset about how cruelly the lynxes were treated. Many injured animals could not survive, and their wounds caused them unnecessary pain. She believed these beautiful creatures had the right to live and deserve protection. Freya began looking for ways to help animals while protecting the interests of farmers. She discovered that there were modern humane traps that could deter predators without causing serious harm to them. Such traps would allow farmers to protect their livestock without harming the lynxes. Freya was excited about the idea and shared it with the farmers, hoping for their support. However, the farmers did not accept Freya's proposal, preferring to use old but effective traps. They believed that newfangled traps would not work and preferred to stick to the usual approach. Freya was disappointed and saddened by the farmers' indifference to the suffering of animals. However, she was not going to give up. She decided to continue searching for a humane solution that would suit everyone, both farmers and lynxes. Freya knew that a compromise needed to be found that accommodated the interests of both parties and provided protection for the livestock without harming the animals. Thus, despite the indifference of the farmers and the difficulties, Freya was determined to find a solution to this problem and protect the lynxes from cruel traps. She was sure that somewhere there was a humane solution that would solve the problem and keep the environment in Ivanovka in harmony. With particular determination and compassion for animals, Freya decided to stand up to the stubborn farmers who refused to use humane traps. Instead of pointlessly arguing with them, she ordered several modern traps that were capable of capturing animals without causing them pain. Every evening after completing her work, Freya would undertake the task of going around the farms, setting humane traps around their perimeters. Quite naturally, the farmers were skeptical of her initiative. However, this did not bother Freya, and she was determined to protect both people and animals. She realized that over time, the lynxes would begin to understand that these traps only temporarily limited their freedom of movement, but did not cause them injury, and therefore they would stop approaching farms, preferring to stay away from human habitation. On the other hand, farmers' traps equipped with snares made it impossible for lynxes to continue living. Even if a painfully wounded predatory animal managed to escape the trap, it would no longer be able to hunt effectively and would most likely die in suffering. Freya certainly believed that her idea would work. Of course, setting the traps was just the first step. Freya realized that it was necessary to check the traps daily and release the lynxes caught in them. This was not an easy and even dangerous task, as a wounded animal could attack out of fear and pain. However, Freya was determined to help these beautiful creatures, so every day after work, she walked around the farms along the perimeter. If a lynx was caught in one of the traps, she would carefully approach, calm the frightened animal with a soft voice, and then release it by opening the bolt and allowing it to run free. At first, of course, the poor animal was scared and confused. Horror was reflected in its eyes because the lynx did not understand what was happening and who was standing in front of it. But gradually, it realized that this person, Freya, was helping it gain freedom. Indeed, she opened the cage, and now the lynx could run away from the places where cruel traps awaited. At first, the lynx hesitantly climbed out, then rushed in all directions as if afraid that Freya would change her mind about letting it go. Easily running faster and faster, it disappeared into the thicket of the forest. There in the depths of a picturesque forest, the lynx could find a new home and start a new life. Several weeks passed like this. Thanks to the humane traps, Freya had already saved many lynxes from certain death in cruel traps. But one day, she had to face a particularly difficult case. While checking the traps again, Freya noticed one of the lynxes caught in a trap, making terrible moans. It was obvious that the animal was seriously injured. Without much thought, Freya carefully administered painkillers to the lynx and took it to the vet. The doctor was able to stitch its deep wounds and provide the necessary treatment. Freya cared for the lynx throughout its recovery. She rejoiced at every slight improvement in the animal's condition and was happy that she was able to help this unfortunate creature. The scars on its body were reminders of the immorality of the cruel traps. Finally, the day came when the lynx fully recovered from the blows of fate. It was time to return it to freedom. Freya took the lynx to remote forests, far from farms and dangerous traps. She opened the cage and watched as the lynx carefully climbed to freedom. Imagine a situation where you were in the forest, watching a lynx that is about to hide in a dense thicket before disappearing from sight. The lynx turns and stops to look at you in the rays of the setting sun. You notice the rare color of the fur on the animal's chest. It resembles the shape of a crescent. You can't help but shout, "I won't forget you, my beauty. Take care of yourself," you shout to the fleeing lynx, filled with a feeling of happiness that you were able to give this animal a second chance at life. You hope you never run into it again in your farm trap. Several years pass. You get married and give birth to 2 beautiful children. Your children are growing up, and you decide to show them the beauty of the surrounding places. One wonderful summer day, the 3 of you go hiking in the picturesque forest near Ivanovka. You remember your adventures with lynxes with a smile because it was here that you released them into the wild. Upon arrival, you set up a tent camp on the edge of the old forest. Your children delight in stories of adventures with lynxes. They do not suspect that they themselves will soon witness an extraordinary story. In the evening, you and your children sit by the fire, cooking bread on sticks and chatting happily. Suddenly, you hear a rustling sound from the forest. Feeling a bit cautious, you look into the darkness. An adult lynx appears, and your children freeze. You get ready to protect them, but then you notice the familiar crescent-shaped mark on the lynx's chest. It's the same lynx you saved and released in this very forest years ago. The lynx doesn't seem aggressive. It looks you in the eyes as if it recognizes you and softly calls to you. Then 3 fluffy kittens come out from behind the bushes. They are the lynx's cubs. Everyone, including you, is captivated by this touching scene. It seems the lynx wants to thank you for saving it by showing you her babies. Your children's eyes widen with delight, and you feel overwhelmed with emotion. This moment is unforgettable and truly magical. For a brief moment, you and the lynx share a silent understanding, which is a rare experience. This incredible meeting will stay in your memories forever. You are both shocked and moved that the lynx has come to show you her kittens. It's a meaningful experience for all of you. It's not often that a wild animal shows gratitude. You feel happy that you were able to help this amazing lynx in the past. Even wild predators can be grateful to those who save them. They understand, even if they can't express it in words. What do you think of the lynx reaction towards Freya? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you liked this video. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.